to all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave para peeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is the Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Shawn Whittington. I'm a seminarian in the United States Old Catholic Church, and I'm coming to you live from my haunted home, my very haunted home, where I live. Before we get going, I'm going to ask all of my Paranormal Ministry family to keep my wife and I both in your prayers. My wife just tested positive for COVID. God, we fought it off for so long. And sure enough, she just tested positive for COVID. And I've been fighting this. I haven't tested positive for it, but I've been fighting off this bad cold for the last couple of weeks now. So just keep us in your prayers. And having said that, I hope you all are doing wonderful. I hope everyone is healthy and happy. And thank you so much for tuning in. I don't have a show without you. And we have a great show today. You all know and love my guest, and that's why you all tuned in. Nobody tunes in for me. And that's the way it should be. He's in the green room. I'll pull him on shortly. But let's check the prayer urn. David W. from Las Vegas, Nevada. Hey, Las Vegas. My father's very ill. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, David. Still home, not yet in hospice. I'm hoping he finds God before it's too late. He is watching today. Can you say something that might help? David, this is a wonderful request. David and your father. Um, hey, listen, that's a personal choice. Everybody, trust me, we all one day will talk to God, whether you believe in him or not. But you know what? My discernment is telling me, reminding me of a beautiful prayer that I'm going to pull out. And it's going to come out of my St. Benedict prayer book. And my guest happens to be a brother, a Benedictine monk. So that is so appropriate. So yes, I will say a nice prayer for you. Let me throw this out to you, David. If you and your father want to reach out to me after the show, please do. I'm here for you, and I can talk to your dad and see where he's at on this whole thing we call religion. I guess we can all use a little more God, no matter where you are in your faith or not. So I'd be more than willing to talk to your father. But this currently is one of my most favorite prayers, and I hope you all enjoy it. In the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. O Lord my God, teach my heart this day where and how to see you, where and how to find you. You have made me and remade me, and you have bestowed on me all the good things I possess. And still I do not know you. I have not yet done that for which I was made. Teach me to seek you, for I cannot seek you unless you teach me, or find you unless you show yourself to me. Let me seek you in my desire. Let me desire you in my seeking. Let me find you by loving you. Let me love you when I find you. Amen. Isn't that a beautiful prayer? And my bookmark happens to be a guardian angel prayer. Angel of God, my guardian dear, to whom his love commits me here, ever this day be at my side to light and guard, to rule and guide. Amen. All you got to do, David, is ask your guardian angels, and your father's got them too, whether he believes in them or not. Ask his guardian angels to step forward and guide him to where he needs to be. But please reach out to me after the show, and we can have this discussion. Let's check the mailbag. Linda P., also in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hey, Las Vegas in the house. My children love all the paranormal shows. Yep. Uh, and they all want to start ghost hunting. Any advice? 5 question marks. Uh, Good luck. Start saving your money. All the kids want all the new expensive gadgets that are out on the market today. So it's all about making the kids happy, right? But this is my advice. You know what? I'm going to keep this question out and run this past my guest too, because he's got a very successful team, has had a very successful team for a long time now. Um, this is my suggestion. This is not a joke. If you're really passionate about being a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, ghostbuster, um, parapsychologist, whatever, this is not a joke. You got to be very careful, and children especially. I don't know if I want to slap an age limit on when they should start doing this. This is what I will tell you, Linda. They need some training. They need to join a team that's already been doing this for a little bit, who welcome the next generation of ghost hunters to come in and train them properly and get them started on the right, the best foot, good foot forward. Um, and you too, I'm going to throw this offer out to you. Keep me posted on how that's going, but find a good local team. I'll even try and do that for you, to find a good local team here that is willing to train the next generation of ghost hunters coming up. But stress to them to respect the locations, respect the spirits, be careful, don't provoke, and just be careful. And just, I can't say it enough, be careful. Okay, if there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. If you go there to visit, there's a lot of cool things there to see. Keep in mind that my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So I know, brothers and sisters, things are tough, but if you go there and you happen to notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it and send my ministry in a small donation. I promise you, it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts. And trust me, we'll put it to good use. I'm also a certified spiritual advisor, so if you're having any issues of a spiritual nature, not necessarily attached to the paranormal, there's a place on the website where you can make an appointment to speak with me. But don't leave the website without navigating over to the page called the WSE course/book. On that page, you'll find the Ghost Store. Lots of cool things to buy if you go for that sort of stuff. And everything you buy there, proceeds go to support causes that I support. But scroll past all that stuff and you'll run into my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, owner of Stellium Books, my publisher. But don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy. If you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. It's a no-brainer. How cool is that? You get to help some of the neediest children on the planet and the animals too. You can get the book a little less expensive at Amazon. You can also buy it on the website. It comes autographed and enclosed in a beautiful house blessing kit. So that's pretty cool too. And it's a great time to get the book and get all caught up, because God, Ghost, and the Paranormal Ministry 2, Chronicles of an American Exorcist, comes out in October of this year. So this is a great time to get the first book, get all caught up before you rush right out and get the second one. Scroll a little bit further down past the book, and you'll see the Worldwide Society of Exorcists, which I'm a founding member. I offer a 12-week online college-level course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, through the WSE. And this is the course for all you true warriors for Christ out there that feel a calling and a longing to want to have more knowledge when it comes to drawing your line in the sand, making a stand, circling the wagons, and putting up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. This is the course for you. No, it's not going to teach you how to be an exorcist. That's a completely different calling. But what it will do is exactly what it says: Introduction to Spiritual Warfare through my eyes, the things that I've experienced and dealt with over the past, let's say, 10 years, especially since I became a deliverance minister. This is a good course for you. It's unlike any course you'll find out there. Um, if you want to have more knowledge about the course before making that type of commitment, Thursday Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page, or just call me, reach out to me. We can talk about if the course is right for you. Most importantly, please keep all of my former, current, and future students in your prayers. And all my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special, blessed gifts that you can only get from yours truly. So that's my song and dance on the course. And first day of spring. So the spring open enrollment for the spring classes is like days away. So this is a good time to jump on board if you're interested in that type of a course. Alrighty, the moment of truth. The reason why you all popped in tonight. He's a brother. He's a friend. I love him and respect him. He's a cool dude. You guys are gonna love him, and most of you already know who he is. Paranormal investigator. He is a Benedictine Order of Saint Benedict novice, paranormal investigator, the lead investigator of his own team, author, poet. Maybe I can talk him into reciting a poem tonight. Brothers and sisters, let's give a big warm, first time on the show, so let's give him a big warm paranormal ministry family welcome to the one and only Bill Payne.
How you doing, brother?
What are you doing?
I just got done with the case, been reviewing it and going through the DVR footage of it and seeing what we got from there.
You know what? I have to take my hat off to you and salute you. Well, I don't have a hat on to take off, but if I did, I'd take it off and I would salute you because I went to your Facebook page, which is Hopkins, Hopkins, Hopkins County Paranormal Society. You guys are active. You work a lot of cases and you film them, and
Yes,
you
ma'am.
got all the film footage on the Facebook page. I love that. Um, we'll get to all of that, but listen, there's something I got to get off my chest, and I'm gonna try not to get emotional here. Um, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, and forgive me if it's not, but I feel I wouldn't be a friend if I didn't at least bring it up. Um, is there anything you would like to say about Misty?
Oh wow. We've
And
known.
if not, brother, it's okay
No, it's fine. It's good.
because I feel she's here watching, um, and still so terribly in love with you and watching over you and your kids. And
Absolutely.
so I would have felt bad if I didn't at least mention her. So please forgive me.
Oh no. I actually thank you for the question. But we've known each other since we were kids. She chased after me for 6 years before we even got together. Every time she wanted to date me, I always had a girlfriend at the time. Or vice versa. So,
So my nickname I gave you, Wild Bill, is appropriate.
oh yeah. Finally, we did get together, and after 6 months of dating, I popped the question, and we got married. And we've been married. It'd be 29 years, and this August, and her birthday is actually next week. So me and my daughters we're going to get together and celebrate her birthday. She's never liked the paranormal, but she's always supported me in it and appreciated my reason for doing it because I had a calling for it. It wasn't something I just woke up one morning and decided to do. I felt called to do it, but she's always supported me on it and everything. And that's one thing I can honestly say. I mean, she's always supported me no matter what decision I decided to make, whether it be writing books or doing the paranormal or doing music or being a DJ or whatever. But her death was very unexpected. She spent the last 6 months in the hospital before she finally lost the battle. I mean, she died of a non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver, but they found it too late. She'd already had it for 2 years before we knew about it, so it eventually started shutting down her other organs, and that's what led to her death.
Well, you know me. You know I'm not hard to find. Anytime you need to reach out for an ear to chew on or a shoulder to cry on or someone to beat up on, I'm your man. I pray for her a lot. You know, every we see each other just about every night at night
Right.
prayer, and
Exactly.
I pray for you and her and your kids a lot. So, I like I said, I would have been upset with myself the rest of the night if I hadn't at least brought her up.
All right.
So,
I mean, I can honestly say she was the most selfless, caring, compassionate, loving woman I've ever met in my life, or even human being I've ever met in my life.
hang in there, brother.
Oh yeah.
Hang in there. There's too many. What you do, you're too good at what you do, and there's too many people out there that need legit uh, paranormal investigators that truly care about helping people. That
Absolutely.
you know, she would want you to, she of course she would want you to not change a thing about who you are and to keep doing what you do. And I know she's there,
Oh,
still there. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
how was your St. Patrick's Day?
Uh, Not too bad actually. I mean, we were actually working a case on St. Patrick's Day of all days.
I got funny enough, the first St. Patrick's Day in many years, I got actually messages that felt like condolence messages, like because I don't drink anymore. Back 20 years ago when I met my wife, I was a raging alcoholic and drug addict, and I used to every St. Patrick's Day throw on the kilt. I
Mhm.
got an authentic Scottish family tartan kilt of my ancestry, and I would throw that on. Sharon had a matching long Scottish woman's evening skirt that matched the same tartan. We
Oh
would
wow.
go to the parade and we would go to the pubs, and she would be my designated driver because by the end of the night, her and my buddies are carrying me home. But it's been, I, I don't know, I haven't done that since I stopped drinking and doing drugs, which has been many, 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 many years. I
Mhm.
don't do it any longer. It's just like St. Patrick's Day is still important to me and
Right.
I celebrate it, but
Absolutely.
I do it at home now. But my friends are calling me up going, we feel bad for you because we know that your St. Patrick's Days aren't like they used to be. Are you hanging in there? I'm like, I'm hanging in there better now than I ever did when I was going out making a fool out of myself, which now brings me up another question. I gotta ask you this. So I used to, I, I wouldn't dare go out with my kilt on and not be commando style. You've got those beautiful Benedictine monk robes you wear. What do you guys wear under them? Are you guys commando under there?
Oh no, 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 no. I always make sure I got a pair of slacks on at least.
Beautiful, beautiful robes. I know Bishop Long has asked me many times, when are you going to join the Benedictines? Here's my story. I'm going to tell you this. I haven't told him this, but this is between us. I know he doesn't watch my show. um, I I'm honored by the request, and I most certainly that's what I've been reading about Saint Benedict. I already knew a lot about him, but been reading a lot about him. Got some books on him. I've got a couple of different prayer books on him. My answer was already yes before he even asked me. But and you can attest to this. Right now, we're both in the seminary. We're so buried and slammed with studies and classes and quizzes and tests and
Absolutely.
I, if I try to take on any more right now, I don't know if I can handle it. I know I will be able to. God would find a way, but I want to get through this first. I want to get through the seminary first. I want to, at the very least, be ordained into the diaconate, and then hopefully
Right.
go on into the priesthood, and then yes, that's at the top of the list to join your guys' order. Um, and I love, and they're not called robes, they're habits. I
Mhm.
love the Benedictine habit. It's got to be one of the most beautiful monk habits I've ever seen.
Oh,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
it'll happen. And I understand we may all get together later this year for a retreat. And who knows, it may happen then.
I believe he was
So
talking about Paul, wasn't he?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything other than the last time he threw it out there to us to start looking for in his neck of the woods places that could put us all up for the weekend, where they have a place where he could do the ceremonies and or do ordaining and have mass and all that. So that's the last time I've heard about it. So I don't know. So we'll see. Listen, this tonight's you've got a lot of fans and followers out there. I don't know if you knew that. This show tonight has taken on a life of its own. As soon as I posted about a week or so ago that you were going to be on, people sent in questions for you. So I'm just going to go down the list of what people have sent me questions and to ask you.
Okay.
And if I ask you anything that you don't want to talk about, just tell me, Shawn. I'd rather move on off that topic, and we will.
I'm an open book.
Haunted Kentucky with about 5 question marks. Somebody commented, wow, with all the Civil War activity, slavery, all the haunted cemeteries and cryptids. Talk to us about Haunted Kentucky, where you're from, and stand up for where you're from, and tell everybody else why Kentucky is considered to be one of the most haunted areas of our country.
Well, see, Kentucky's got a lot of history to it. I mean, as far as the Civil War, I mean, they came right through here. We actually did a place in Sacramento, Kentucky, where a small piece of the Civil War took place at. And they've got other history locations like Bobby Mackey's Music World. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of that.
Oh yeah,
that's in Wilder, Kentucky. I've actually
have you been there?
Twice.
You know what? Again, if I don't ask you about your experience there, I'm going to be kicking myself later. Talk to me about that place, because I know Bishop Long's been there. I've seen some shows that have gone there and filmed, and I talked to other people that I've talked to some people that are very psychically sensitive that won't go there. Right. They've been near it and won't go. They won't go in or go by it. Talk to me about your experience there at Bobby Mackey's.
The first time I went there, we were investigating, and down in the Weld area, where supposedly that's where they threw Pearl Bryant's head down into the actual well. We were asking a few questions, and I'd asked the question if it was true that satanic worship took place there, and a voice comes across and says no. The actual satanic practice happened about a mile or two away from there, and that's also, Pearl Bryant wasn't decapitated there. She was decapitated at least 2 or 3 miles away from Bobby Mackey's, but they took her head there and disposed of it in the river.
Wow.
Through the well. And something did actually try to attach itself to me after the investigation from there. I had caught my ride back to Evansville, Indiana, and me and the guy I rode with, we were just sitting there talking, and it was like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. It was pouring down rain, and a loud bang hit the back of his truck. We both turned around at the same time and looked back behind us, nothing there. And my ride pulls up, and I'm getting my equipment out, and my hand radio turns on by itself to the weather station, which at that time I didn't even know I had a weather station channel on it. And my flashlight kicked on. And I told him, I said, "You're not going home with me. You can go back to Bobby Mackey's." The second time it was a little bit more interesting. While there, me and a friend of mine were upstairs in Carl Lawson's room. We were sitting there and doing a little investigation, and clearly both of us heard footsteps just circling us, like it was trying to fill us out. And I have to look over to my left, and right there where the bedroom door is, where he was stayed at, leading downstairs, the shadow figures clearly walked right by us. And I followed it down there, and it seemed like the more closer I tried to get to it, the more it would kind of like disappear. But I could hear where it was going, so I followed it all the way down to the basement area. I get down to the basement area, and I'm right there by the well again. I didn't hear a loud bang this time, but all of a sudden my head just started swimming like I was about ready to pass out. I had to grab hold of the banister. So, excuse me. We started asking questions there, and I asked the question. I said, "Pearl, is it true that Antonio did not want you to tell your story?" And it seemed like it's just that as soon as she was started to come across, a voice come across said, "Be quiet." Like it was telling her not to say a word. So I mean, I never felt anything really negative or demonic there. But I get just like I tell people, it depends on your intentions. If you go in there asking to get scratched, asking to calling it out, then yeah, I mean, most likely you are going to get attacked. But if you go in there with respect, it's a whole different ball game. So I mean, but I've also heard too that there's been a couple of exorcisms done there, so that could be why I at that moment I didn't have any like demonic attacks or experiences. So I guess it, but like I tell people, you get more bees with honey than you do going asking the bee scratch because a lot of people consider that provoking or taunting. That's not provoking. That's inviting. There's a difference.
Well, you got to take that whole area there is so steeped in history,
Oh,
a
absolutely.
lot of violent history too. But you take the guy that owns the place; he's just a musician, an artist. He's
And
not yeah, he's not a paranormal dude. But so many attacks have occurred during regular business hours when people are there dancing, having a drink, watching the band, that he had to post. It takes a lot for an owner of a club like that to post signs
absolutely
covering his own rear end that enter my club at your own risk because it's known to be
haunted.
haunted and there's been attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, most owners of establishments wouldn't put a sign up like that because think of how many people you scare off,
Mm-hmm.
and then now you're taking money, food off the table.
Absolutely.
You know, Yeah, very, very interesting place. And I wasn't going to ask you this question before I go to some of your fans' questions. I am going to ask you this one because you've been doing this a long time. Um, they've got all the theories about the ley lines and um, railroad tracks
Mm-hmm.
across America and bodies of water, whether it be running or still bodies of water like lakes and stuff. And then Bobby Mackey's got that running. Um,
Licking River.
Yeah, right behind it. What's your take and feeling on the theories about if there truly seems to be more paranormal activity around ley lines or where you see a lot of railroad tracks crossings in certain areas and bodies of water? What's your take on that?
I kind of believe it does add a little bit of intensity to it because I mean they all hold energy, and spirits need energy in order to do certain things. And for instance, to speak, it takes a little bit of energy from the speak to come through as an EVP. It takes a little bit more energy for them to come through as a disembodied voice. It takes even a little bit more energy in order to manifest himself into a silhouette or a shadow, and even more energy to fully manifest themselves into a full body figure to where we can see who they actually are. But I mean, we all know that water is a source of energy and a source of power, as far just as well as ley lines. I mean, they all put off EMF, and we all know EMF is created from anything that holds power to it. So I believe it adds a certain amount of intensity to it, just as well as thunderstorms.
Yeah, I forgot about the thunderstorm one. I have been out many years ago as I used to give tours of a haunted pet cemetery here in town. And whenever we went out and the weather was bad, like especially during the summer when ghost tours are most active in this town, we get monsoon season here in Vegas, and we get some pretty radical thunderstorms going on. And it always seemed on those, and I used to log it. Oh, excuse me. It always seemed the activity would increase during the heightened
Mm-hmm.
active weather patterns with
Right.
all of that electricity and energy in the atmosphere. Very interesting. Um, you've got a very I read your bio. You got a very interesting background. Um, and here you go. Next question. Somebody wants to know about your paranormal journey. I think in your bio you mentioned you had a paranormal journey, but I don't think you specifically went into detail about that. How does a good old country boy uh, become this? And I'm going to ask you the difference between a religious demonologist and a demonologist, but
Right.
you're also a religious demonologist,
Mm-hmm.
very talented paranormal investigator. I I too am interested in how that journey starts for you.
I started about 20 years ago. I mean, I've always been interested in the paranormal, even as a teenager. Always read books, watched TV shows about it, studied it, researched it. Any book I could find, any TV show I could find, movie I could find.
Now, what was at that point? What about it built this passion?
It was basically curiosity. Like, how does I mean, we've always taught growing up. I mean, once someone dies, that's it. I mean, they're done with it. But then I found books and everything about ghosts. I was like, okay, what is this? And I kind of started reading it, and I couldn't put it down. Because like I said, I was always taught once someone dies, they're gone. I mean, that's it. Then I started reading this book. It's like, okay, this can't be what I've been told can't be true if this is what's going on here. So that kind of got me interested into the paranormal. And even in high school, I mean, I would do my book reports and stuff like that on ghosts, spirits, the occult, and stuff like that right there.
Yeah.
So the older I got, I mean, I just kept reading, kept researching. And then I lost my brother about 15, 20 years ago to suicide. And I was sitting at home one day, and next thing I know, I heard sound like someone took our screen door and just slammed it. And one of the pictures come off the wall. I was like, okay, was that him or is this something else? Because I mean, my brother, the whole time he was growing up, also he always seen demons. I mean, actual demons.
Wow.
They would actually follow him from a young kid from my uncle's house and then chase him all the way home. And he'd be laying in bed and he'd hear like tapping on the window. And he'd open it up and he'd always describe it as a black figure with a hood and couldn't see his face. And it followed him from the time he was a kid to the time he was an adult. And
did you believe him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was terrified. I mean, and
What's your gut in your heart of hearts? Um, what do you think was that all about? Why were they targeting your brother?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of think because as a teenager, he became an alcoholic, and he drank until the time he was an adult to when he actually took his life. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking. I mean, it's like I tell people, entities, demonic or human spirits, they all feed off addictions as well.
Yeah.
So I believe that all started when he became an alcoholic, and it just kind of followed him because he also drew a picture of an alcohol bottle and a spirit there saying, "I'll never let you go."
You know, many people get even sometimes they're having these experiences before they even turn to alcohol and drugs. And that sometimes gets them to do that because they don't know what else to turn to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you a weird question. Again, if I ever ask anything inappropriate, I apologize. You know I love you.
Oh, absolutely.
Let me ask you this question. You now are such a religious person, a very blessed person, a religious person. Uh, did you do you feel in your heart of hearts your brother found God before he took his life?
I believe he did. I mean,
You think that the demonic was behind that?
absolutely, I do. I mean, I absolutely 100% believe that the demonic was behind it.
Wow.
Because I mean, after my brother passed away, my oldest daughter, she was laying in bed one time and she described the exact same thing that he had seen. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons also why I got into the paranormal and studied demonology and studied the paranormal and everything. I mean, that kind of, I felt like God was calling me saying, hey, this is two now. That's just seeing the same thing.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I believe God called me to it.
Okay, here we're going to get a little deep here. This is a basic question. So, you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, yes.
What do you think a ghost is?
Well, people got their own ideas about. They say there's a difference between a ghost and a spirit. To me, I can kind of see where they come from because they describe a ghost as something that more residual that's brought on by, which is based on the stone tape theory that everything holds energy, and a ghost is basically that, where the residual, you can't communicate with them, they can't communicate with you, just like they're stuck on a time loop, like a movie replaying itself over and over again. And some believe the actual spirit is the human spirit side, which is the intelligent side, to where they can communicate with you and you can't communicate with them. But to me, I mean, I got my own beliefs that they're pretty much the same thing. So I believe they're just the energy left over from it's a spirit from a deceased human being.
Yeah, I'm in that camp with you. A ghost is a ghost is a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone into places where it was there were things happening that where everyone thought that went in there and investigated that it was uh, residual, and then I was able to find something intelligent about the haunt once I really got into it and pried. Um, okay, let's get a little deeper here. Many people in our field, like we're both going to be we're both heavily involved in clergy right now, laity, the clergy, and I think you and I will be doing that until the day we die.
Absolutely.
Um, Many clergy only believe in angels and demons and don't believe in ghosts. I do believe, I'm the first one to admit, I do believe there's been times where I have thought I was dealing with a disembodied human spirit, but it was really a demon fooling me.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
do believe sometimes I was dealing with the demonic because it was really a disembodied human spirit that was just really behaved in a malevolent manner. It was just a old, pissed off ghost, excuse my French, and it behaved very malevolent. So I'm only human, you know. I think I've been fooled a time or two.
Oh, yeah. We all have.
Um, I want you to tell people. I already know you. I already know that you know the devil is real. I already know you know demons are real.
Mm-hmm.
Tell people about the devil and what he's up to nowadays, because it seems like the demonic has been really active in our world nowadays, and talk to people about demons and why they have to be very careful about the way they live their lives, especially if they're going to go and try and be a ghost hunter.
All right.
About all those dangers and why you and I believe in the devil and demons.
Well, it's like the old saying goes: the devil's cleverest trick is to make someone believe he doesn't exist. And just because they don't believe in Satan doesn't mean Satan don't believe in them, because Satan believes in all of us. And I mean, and the thing is too, there's only four types of hauntings: the human, which involves the residual and the intelligent; poltergeist, which isn't a demon or a spirit, it's brought on by someone's own emotions; elemental, which is nature spirits; and then the demonic. But they all four can resemble each other. They can imitate each other. The thing is to learn what you're dealing with and learn to tell the signs of which one you're dealing with. Because just like I tell people, when it comes to demonic, a demonic isn't going to tell you it's a demon. It's going to do everything in its power to manipulate you, to make you think it's something else besides a demon. But thing is too, if you're dealing with something demonic, that's if you don't have any experience, you need to get out 100%. Because with people, it's like I tell people who want to get into this field, if you want to get into this field, make sure you do your homework. It's not what you see on TV. What you see on TV is like 45 minutes of a 12-hour investigation. You don't see everything that happens behind the scenes. They're not going to show someone on a TV show getting possessed. Because if they do that, then 9 times out of 10, most likely they're going to get canceled. So, I mean, you may see people on there getting scratched or something like that, but the thing is, you don't see what happens when they go home. The baggage they got to carry with them. In this field, things do follow you home. Things can attach to you, and they can attack your family. It's a very dangerous field. Do your homework. Make sure you know what you're getting into. Learn how to protect yourself. Don't go in like all these other shows and start screaming at them,
Yeah.
calling them out, do this, do that. I don't believe you're real. If you are, then do this. Like I said, that's not taunting. That's inviting.
Do you in your when you find yourself in the presence, God forbid, of the demonic,
Mm-hmm.
do you, a lot of people in our field, a lot of clergy, deliverance ministers, and so forth, um, from different walks of faith than us, believe in religious provocation. I personally have never done that. What's your thinking on that, and in your approach to the demonic when you find yourself in that realm? Do you tend to do any type of provocation?
I use what's called religious provocation on on some occasions. So, and what that consists of, it's not going there saying, "Okay, demon, I'm a God. Come if you can't hurt me." No, you don't do that. What I consider religious provocation, I may say a few prayers just to see what kind of reaction I get. I may quote a few Bible scriptures just to see what happens. I may play a few gospel songs to see what happens, or I may speak a
They
little bit,
hate that.
or or
They
or
hate that.
or I may speak a little bit of Latin. I mean, just to see what happens. Like, for instance, I may say, "In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti,
Yeah.
Made Retro Satana." That means in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, devil be gone. And or just to see what happens, to see if they know what I'm saying. Just to see if I'll say something like, "Okay, can you tell me what language that was?" Just to see if I get an answer. Or I say, "Can you tell me what I just said?" Just to see if I get an answer. And 99 times out of 100, I get no reaction. And if it was truly demonic, then you know that you would actually get a reaction out of that, because everybody knows the devil and the demons, they don't like anything religious, that anything religious is going to piss them off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one way that you can normally tell what you're actually dealing with. And I do that just to see if I'm dealing with a human spirit or a demonic spirit. So, and that way, if it is demonic, then I know, okay, Bishop needs to be involved. If it's the human spirit, then I'll do something like a human cleansing, a basic cleansing and blessing, just to see if that helps. If it gets more violent, then I know I need to call a bishop.
Yeah. I have to ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Linda P. here from my hometown, Las Vegas, says, "My children love all the paranormal shows," and you mentioned the shows,
Mm-hmm.
"and they all want to be ghost hunters. Any advice?" Now, after you answer this, there's no wrong answer here. After you put your 2 cents in on this request from Linda, any advice, then I would like you to introduce your team to everyone, and tell us a little bit about how the team came together.
Uh, my team is Hopkins County Paranormal Society, and I started it about 20 years ago. I started out with just myself, and I was down at the library once and checking out some books on the paranormal, some demonologist books like Ed and Lorraine Warren. Uh, reading those, and the lady who was checking me out with the books, she started going into some experiences she's been having down there at the library, which the library is what was actually my old school back when I was in junior high. So I kind of knew the school itself, and she was telling us some things that were going on there, and I said, "Well, I can come out. I can come down after hours if you want me to, just see what I can experience if you want me to." And after hours, she called me down there, and I started out with the only equipment I had at the time was 2 digital recorders, a digital camera, and a flashlight. That was my first equipment. So we set up a couple of recorders down there, and we actually got it. You could hear what sounded like children running down the hallway, but there was no kids there because I mean they were already closed. And then you could hear what sounded like a older gentleman getting onto a child, like he was a teacher or something. I was like, okay. So I edited that down. Yeah, I gave it to her for her own keepings. And I said, okay, well, maybe I needed to start doing this full time. I mean, because like I said, I felt God was pulling me in that direction. So I just put a ad out on the paper and made a post on Facebook looking for investigators, and started getting phone calls and everything. And that's pretty much how Hopkins County Paranormal Society was built.
Very, very cool. So now Linda comes to you.
Mm-hmm.
Wild Bill, my kids all want to be ghost hunters. They love the shows. Any advice?
My advice is, like I said, don't believe what you see on TV. It's nothing like you see on TV. Do your homework, do your research, make sure you are doing it for the right reasons and not the wrong reasons. Because there's no money in this field. We do it because we're called to do it. We're doing it because we're passionate about it. We love it. And we do it to help people, not to get famous, not to get rich, not to get notoriety or nothing like that. You do it because you want to help people. That's the main thing. And learn to tell what each type of haunting consists of. That way you know what you're dealing with. Don't taunt, don't provoke. If it's something that's out of your hands, find someone who's got the experience to handle it. If you can't, then look for a pastor, a preacher, or a priest who may have the experience to go in and do it. Make sure that that you keep everyone safe. Don't do it by yourself. Join somebody who knows what they're doing. Learn from them, and that's the best advice I can give.
Hey, Bill, I have a question for you. Adrian went and she was in an investigation the other night that we broadcast live. And I just noticed on your Facebook page, and I'm going to share it here real quick. You're wearing a hoodie with a symbol on it. That symbol did that come from the Vatican?
No, I actually had that made from a friend of mine. She does t-shirts and hoodies, and I also hold on 1 second.
Oh, there, the Saint Benedict cross on that sweatshirt. That's beautiful.
And that's kind of why I'm asking this, because
and I also
we were told what that meant.
Yes, I got that Saint Benedict tattoo that I wear along with it.
Do you know what the words around that mean?
Yes.
What is it?
All right.
You got that right here, if I can find it in the book.
It's the same as what he told us.
The CSPB, that's cross of our Father Saint Benedict. That's what the CSPB stands for.
Okay.
The CSSML, Crux Sacra Sit Mihi Lux, that means may the Holy Cross be our light. Okay. The NDSMD, Non Draco Sit Mihi Dux, that means let not the dragon be our guide.
Okay, that was completely different. Then this one had it on the cornerstone of the church, and it said what it was supposed to mean on the outside of it was in Latin, and it said any spirits that like pretty much from an exorcism, any spirits that are exorcised will live in this ground forever, never to come out.
No, that's not what the letters stand for. The letters going around the VRS and all that are going around. What that's saying is, be gone, Satan. Do not offer me your vanities. What you offer is poison. Drink thy own poison yourself.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for that. Yeah, we had a 3-hour live. Well, actually, it was about an hour and a half of live investigation. Other than that, a lot of people got to watch me talk. Lucky them. Right. And that seal showed up on the floor in the chapel.
Wow.
And it was in other places. So yeah, when I took and I was sharing your Facebook page, I saw that and I got all excited. I was like a little kid in school. I'm like, so yeah, I just wanted to find out about that. But thank you very much for
I actually have one of those right here that Bishop Long gave me.
All my team members, I always make sure my team members have the Saint Benedict pendant necklace to wear for safety. And I also give them to all my clients after investigations to keep for safety as well.
Well, I greatly appreciate that information. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
That was a great question.
Yes, it was. He
always comes up with the better questions than I ask. I love that medal. I have. I would have to say my house is covered, just about every room, wall to wall, ceiling to floor, with crucifixes with corpses on them. And I would probably have to say half of them are Saint Benedict crucifixes, which is behind the corpus of Jesus. On
Right.
there is the medallion. Some have the one side with the cross. Some have the outline of Benedict with the wording, Satan, drink your own poison.
Yeah.
I love that medal.
I got that one up there too.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm going to ask you something here. We've got about 5 minutes before I got to say goodbye to you. If there's not enough time or you don't want to, that's okay. But I happen to know how hard it is to be a talented poet. Is there a favorite poem of yours that speaks from the heart that you would like to share with us, or do you want to do that another time?
Yeah, I can do that with you. Actually, it was the very first poem I'd ever written in my life. I ever wrote in my life. It was called "Will I Be Remembered When I Die," and I wrote that because we were having it was back when I was in high school. They were having a poetry contest, and I was sitting in math class one time, and that poem, I mean, the first few stanzas just popped in my head like that right there, and I knew I had to write it down because if I didn't write it down, then I would forget it. So it just came to me. I started writing it, and I entered it into the poetry contest and never placed. My younger brother, they were having a poetry contest at their school in elementary. I didn't know this. He took my poem, rewrote it, took it to school, entered it into the poetry contest, and won first place. Every teacher, every student in his class wanted a copy of it. So, I mean, I had to say that's probably one of my favorite poems because, I mean, just for that memory alone. So, and it's actually in my book here. Excuse me. Find it real quick. Page 31. Will I be remembered when I die? Will I fly high in the sky? Will I be with the loving Christ, or will I have the burning life? Will I be remembered when I die? Will the people who love me even cry? I guess I never understood the pain that life brought, but I guess it showed me one lesson that had to be taught. Some think that suicide is the way out, but that's not what life is all about. You have to treasure each moment like there's no tomorrow. If not, you'll constantly live in the sorrow. I know it brings tears to our eyes when we tell our loved ones and friends goodbye. When it's time for us to go away, there's no reason for us to be afraid because it's just Jesus calling our name. But there's one question we have to ask ourselves when that day finally arrives. Will I be remembered when I die?
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Appreciate
Yeah, you've got several books out. Couple, if not most of them, are of poetry that you've written. That's such a. I'm not going to say lost art form, but I don't know very many people that write poetry. I can count them on one hand, I think, and you're one of those fingers. I think that's beautiful, man. Don't stop doing that. You've got a real talent for that.
Appreciate it.
What else do I want to say to you before I have to say goodnight? I got about 30 seconds before I got to say goodbye to you. One of my all-time, it's near the top of the list of places where I am going to go one of these days. I don't travel well, but I'm going to go one of these days. And that's anywhere near the Legend of the Bell Witch. I know you probably live about an hour from there.
I've actually, Joe Bell's cabin is down. It's the only cabin left standing. And they moved that to the museum. And I've actually investigated it 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
John Bell took lumber from his cabin to build Joe's cabin. And each time I've been down there to investigate that cabin, I've never left it disappointed.
I bet. I bet. I am so. That's just one of the stories that I've always, from the very first time when I was young and read about it, has always stuck with me, and it's on the top of my list of places to go. Well, listen, I told you in the green room before we started that I only had one rule, and that was for you to have fun. So you're going to want to come back Did you have fun, and will you come back?
Oh, absolutely, brother. Anytime.
You know I love you. You know I respect you. Hopefully we'll get to see each other face to face later this year if we have this retreat and everybody shows up for their different ordinations into wherever they're going on their path. Um, give all the rest of your family a big hug for me. Tell everybody I said hi.
Absolutely.
You have a wonderful remainder to your Monday evening, and I'll see you in an hour at night prayer.
All right, man.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, love you.
Love you too. Good night.
Good night.
Brother Bill Payne, OSB novice, religious demonologist, seminarian in the United States Old Catholic Church. Hopkins County Paranormal Society. Follow them. What else do I want to say to you guys other than thank you all so very much for taking an hour out of your busy Monday evenings to hang out with me and Bill. I promise you he'll be back. We're just now starting, first day of spring. We're entering, a lot of people are fair weathered paranormal investigators, so I'm sure him and his team will be doing, especially back in his neck of the woods, will be doing some investigating. They just worked a case this past week. I should have asked him about that. Anyway, yeah, I'll have him back this summer after he's got some cases under his belt. He'll probably have some really cool stories to tell, and I'll try to get him to recite some more poetry. I love that stuff. So I will be here this coming Friday. It's the last of my 3 Fridays in a row that are all Irish because of in honor of St. Patrick's Day, which was last Friday. We're back to Ireland this coming Friday, the 24th. Jenny Sullivan Sannyasi will be my guest, and she is you guys all know her and love her. She's a paranormal enthusiast, a paranormal authority, an elite ghost hunter, ghostbuster, you name it. She will be here live from Ireland this Friday, the 24th. What else do I want to tell you guys? I want to thank some people here. CommunityPayItForward.us. CommunityPayItForward.us. Go there. If you shop there, you end up helping somebody. So go there, do some shopping, help somebody out. USOCC.org. USOCC.org, the church I belong to. If you're interested in wanting to know about the church I belong to, that's the website. United States Old Catholic Church. If you're interested in night prayer, which is every weeknight, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific, or if you're interested in Bible study, which is every Wednesday and Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. Pacific, go to bishopjameslong.com. Scroll down to the bottom of his homepage. You'll see the links to both of those there. And you're welcome, regardless of what walk of life, religious belief system you have in place or not. We don't judge. We welcome everybody. Bible study is so cool, and so is night prayer. So there you go. Thank you to Zach and Adrian Clayton, my co-producers. I couldn't do the show without them because I'm completely computer illiterate. So thank you, Zach. Thank you, Adrian. I'm glad you both look and sounded like you were feeling better. So that warms my heart. Please keep.
we are, and from somebody who just got over that dreaded disease, please give your wife the best.
Yeah, it's scary for her because I'm 63. She's 16 years older than me, and
yes.
has asthma. So I'm
yeah.
going to be doing a lot of praying, and
hey,
I'm going to try and talk her into staying home for a few days.
Yeah, you keep us updated, and our thoughts and are with you and your wife. Okay.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you to Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. Thank you to Skeleton Key Network. Thank you to PACT, little P, capital ACT, Podcasting for All Coming Together channel. And thank you to Things Network. All of those networks for simulcasting my show. God bless you all for doing that. Also, BeInspiredRadio.net. BeInspiredRadio.net. Chicky Hot, the rock psychic, that's her network. She re-airs episodes of my show all day long on Saturdays. She also has a lot of cool shows there. She replays a lot of old Art Bell shows, which is really cool. So go there, check out BeInspiredRadio.net. Bad joke time. I'm going to pull a bad joke that one of you sent in out of this Haunted Carnival Barker hat. And it's my poor attempt to try and put a smile on everybody's face before I say goodnight. What did the horse say after it tripped? Help! I've fallen and I can't giddy up. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. I love you all. God bless you all. Peace.